David Coulthard feels like an idiot to me. I'm sorry to say it. I don't know if you're like a big supporter of him or whatever, but his latest comments come as exceedingly tone deaf and seemingly like he doesn't understand the current state of sport. What is going on? Sherif here for F1 Chat, and sorry the video is a little bit late, but I think the timing is very good. We have a little bit to discuss, a little bit of commentary, and definitely some big news announced today. But you'll notice that my cohort Joe is not here, and we just had a big holiday here called Thanksgiving. That's why this video is a bit late. You know, I was entertaining people from out of town, and Joe unfortunately came down with the flu, and he actually lost his voice. So please leave some comments below wishing Joe a speedy recovery. We would both really appreciate that. I'm sure it would make his day to see some people say, you know, get better, Joe. But regardless, we have a bit to talk about today, and the first thing we're going to talk about is David Coulthard and his comments about Checo, and number two is going to be the resignation of Mattia Binotto. And so let's get into it. So first, David Coulthard feels like an idiot to me. I'm sorry to say it. I don't know if you're like a big supporter of him or whatever, but his latest comments come as exceedingly tone deaf and seemingly like he doesn't understand the current state of sport, which is really, really interesting. So if you guys didn't know, David Coulthard came out and said basically like that team orders are an open discussion, first of all, and that, you know, Max Verstappen was totally in the right to deny Checo any opportunity to get into the points in Sao Paulo, which is fundamentally ridiculous. I feel like if you're on a team, it's about the team. It's not about the individual racer. And yes, we have seen individual racers kind of exercise their ego from time to time, but it doesn't make it right. And David Coulthard's contention is that consistency is key. So being a consistent douchebag is the key to being a good driver. Like, I'm sorry, David. Like, this is absolutely retarded. And he basically blames Checo for not being good enough to keep up with Max. And as far as I understood it, and I believe anybody who understood it, was that Checo came in to be a number two, to be a support driver for Max. And we saw that last year in Abu Dhabi. You know, he held up Lewis Hamilton in order to support his teammate Max. So I don't understand where this argument that he's making that Checo really needs to like step up and accept like his position on the team. He knows exactly what his position on the team is, and he's never sat there and been like, oh yeah, you know, like we don't know who the real number one driver is. Like, that's very obvious. Like, the entire team biases towards Max as their number one, and they consider him their great white hope. So all David Coulthard is doing is essentially, in my point of view, insulting Checo and just making himself look the fool for sure. Like, basically speaking words that show that he doesn't have an understanding of the team dynamics at Red Bull. And really, he's just, I don't know, like, it just feels incredibly tone deaf. You know, he says, like, if Checo doesn't like it, then he can leave the team, right? In no way is Checo going to leave the team. I mean, Checo got a dream opportunity coming from Racing Point to drive for Red Bull. It's a great seat. He's had, you know, really great performance since he's been on the team. Now, yes, like, can Checo drive a little bit more consistently? Sure, right? maybe that's a problem with him getting used to the new setup for the 2023 or 2022 regs. But the grand scheme of things, right? Like, he did really well. He did really, really well for a number two. And I do not see where David Coulthard is coming from. And honestly, I think comments like this are part of the F1 zeitgeist of like nonsense, like absolute nonsense. I don't know if you guys remember, but earlier in the season, right, we had a lot of the old heads like Ecclestone and I'm blanking on his name right now. But basically, old heads coming out and saying, "Oh, Lewis's poor performance, means that he should really retire from the sport," completely not taking into consideration that he was playing part in a team and he was doing testing and development on a car, right? So as they got through that phase of testing and development, his performance noticeably increased, right? And this smacks of the same sort of nonsense talk where the person who's making the commentary, in this case Coulthard, is just not aware of what's going on with the team and saying things that are just complete nonsense, right? Really, to say that consistency is the key to a good driver, like he literally, this is the quotation, right? Being consistent in your behavior patterns is a quality. Inconsistency is what you need to watch out for because you don't know what you're dealing with, right? So essentially, he's applauding Verstappen for being a consistent asshole. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And really, that's not something to applaud. That's not what we consider, true hero level, like, qualities, right? So, and many of the drivers who we saw kind of start out being like jerks and being kind of selfish tempered themselves as time went on, right? We saw that with Hamilton. We saw that with Vettel. Right? They became more team players as they matured in the sport. Verstappen has been around for a while, genuinely a while. And so I don't understand why he hasn't, tempered himself at all. Personally, I have my own theories, but anyways, drop your thoughts down in the comments below about what you think about David Coulthard's statement. Personally, they rubbed me the wrong way, as you can see. I'd be very curious to hear what your opinions are on his commentary, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe the video. We are still trying to grow the channel, and we have been promising that we'll do a giveaway once we get to 1,000 subscribers, so we would really appreciate it. Now, continuing on to the news, I was really saddened to hear that Mattia Binotto resigned as Ferrari's team principal. I think this is a terribly bad move, and it's really endemic of a fundamental problem that Ferrari has at this stage, which is they keep on trying to change things up when they need to allow the team to kind of settle and congeal and find the right way for them to do things without introducing new factors, right? Like in science, when you're trying to go into doing an experiment, you want to test out single variables at a time without restructuring, like, or getting multiple variables that are constantly changing. And that allows you to make incremental progress to a conclusion of your experiment, right? So, okay, for this driver, we need to try this setup. And then next time we'll try that setup and we'll try this setup, right? For the team, they still have a lot of learning to do. I mean, think about their performance in 2020, 2021, for them to be in contention within the span of one season for the championship is amazing. And that happened under the leadership of Mattia Binotto. And just because he didn't reach their sort of goals within the span of one season, he's out. Like that's just crazy to me. There's still so many things that they need to work on. They need to work on their pit strategies, their tire strategies, their in race strategies at times, right? They still have to work on the aero and slash drag of the car. And now they have to do it with the new team principal. Like, and that person is going to have to come up to speed with the needs of the team and the personalities and, all of this. Like, I think it's a terribly bad move from Ferrari, honestly. In truth, they shouldn't have accepted his resignation. And I don't know if he was forced out, if, it was one of those kinds of situations or not. But I'm actually really saddened to see it. Like, as Joe and I said in our last video, we have been openly critical of some of Ferrari's moves this season, or the 2022 season. But in the grand scheme of things, it's because we always wanted them to achieve, and truth be told, neither Joe or I likes Christian Horner, so we don't like seeing his arrogant little pompous ass, succeeding on any level. Just because he just loves to run his mouth, but he never would against Ferrari. And it was really amazing to see Ferrari in contention. So we were very supportive of them from early on. Aside from having a really, really beautiful concept for the 2022 season, they seemed to have some really, really great performance. And unfortunately, it didn't shake out. But there's no reason in 2023 that they couldn't have refined that and continued on to being in contention for the championship, which is amazing. Amazing to do that within the span of one season. So, I don't know, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Mattia Binotto resigning. But I have really mixed feelings about it, to be honest. I don't think the guy was given a fair shake. I think it was too much to put on him, and the guy was with the team for what, 28 years. 28 years. And to leave after this, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And yeah, I don't know. I feel on some level that really they're being unreasonable with him, genuinely. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I believe it or not, actually read all of them. I may not reply back. Usually I'm very busy between my day job and my side hustles and stuff like that. But I do read them all, and you'll see some of you get likes and hearts from me. So that's me. I'm doing that. But yeah, really appreciate all of you guys. Also, gotta say congratulations to England today in the World Cup. You guys killed it. Good job. Yes, I'm rooting for you guys. And I gotta say props to USA for going 1-0 over Iran. Yeah. So really, if you guys are following the World Cup, it's been an interesting one so far, for sure. Again, let us know your World Cup predictions down in the comments below. Definitely love hearing what you guys have to say. But the 2023 season is already looking to be a bit interesting.